What high IQ? People think but never say. Psychology explained. She's at the dinner table, smiling at the right times, nodding when expected. But behind her eyes, she's already counted 3 contradictions in tonight's conversation. She's mapped exactly where the topic will land in the next 90 seconds, and she's made one quiet decision. She won't speak. This isn't shyness. This isn't social anxiety. This is something the smartest people in any room have learned to do. And almost no one talks about why. Tonight, we're going to. There's a quiet pattern happening inside high IQ minds. A constant, low-grade awareness that the way they see a situation is different from how everyone else sees it. Not better, just layered. Connected. A few steps ahead. And so they stay silent. Look, I know what you're thinking. Another video about how smart people are misunderstood. Eye roll. Honestly, fair. But stay with me because this isn't another list of cute traits to romanticize. This is 5 real thoughts that high IQ people carry every day, backed by Neuroscience and a 2016 study with over 15,000 participants that quietly broke what we thought we knew about loneliness. Number 4 is the one that took me 10 years to figure out personally. Number 5. Most high IQ people carry it alone for most of their lives. By the end, you'll have 3 research-backed tools. Simple enough to start tonight. If you've ever felt like you're living slightly out of sync with the world, you're in the right place. You're not behind. You're early. Thought number 1. I can see where this is going. The conversation is barely 2 minutes in. They've already mapped the trajectory, the argument that's about to be made, the counterpoint someone will offer, the exact moment someone will get defensive. This isn't arrogance. It's pattern recognition, what neuroscientists call predictive processing. The brain runs forward simulations of the next moment, the next sentence, the next reaction. In high IQ individuals, this system runs faster and deeper. And here's the strange part. The brain often finishes the conversation about 3 seconds before the speaker does. 3 seconds. That's how long they've been waiting every single time you talk to them. So why do they stay quiet? Because they've learned something painful. The cost of being 3 steps ahead is being misread as patronizing, as arrogant, as showing off. So they let the conversation play out. Let everyone arrive in their own time. But there's a price for that. And no one warns you about it. Pause. Have you ever sat in a meeting, watched the whole arc unfold, and stayed silent not because you didn't have something to add, but because you were tired of being the person who got there first? If you just nodded even slightly, keep watching. There's a quiet exhaustion in being early. This video is for you. Thought number 2. I'm not bored. I'm waiting. From the outside, high IQ people often look distracted. Their eyes drift. They go quiet. Sometimes they stop responding altogether. But here's what's actually happening inside that head. Most brains operate on 1 track at a time. Listen, respond, listen, respond. A high IQ brain runs 3 tracks at once. While it's listening to you, it's pulling up a podcast it heard last week, simulating 3 possible outcomes of this conversation, quietly auditing the logic of what's being said, all at the same time. That's not boredom. That's bandwidth. A 2023 study in the Journal of Cognitive Neuroscience found that overthinkers show up to 30% more activity in what's called the default mode network, the part of your brain that wanders, that connects distant ideas, that produces the aha moment in the shower, or the breakthrough on a long walk. Your brain isn't drifting. It's weaving. So when a high IQ person looks like they've zoned out, they probably haven't. They've zoomed out. Take a breath. Because the next one is the thought most high IQ people carry completely alone. Even the people closest to them rarely get to hear it. Thought number 3. I wish I could turn it off sometimes. Here's the secret most people don't know about intelligence. It doesn't come with a quiet switch. The same neural wiring that lets a high IQ brain see patterns others miss is the same wiring that won't let it rest. 3 a.m. Lying in bed. Replaying a conversation from 6 months ago. Analyzing the 3rd sentence, the one that came out a little wrong. Wondering if the other person noticed. Building a counterfactual where you said it better. Then running it back. This isn't just anxiety. This is what overthinking looks like at a neurological level. A 2017 study from American Mensa, published in the journal Intelligence, surveyed 3,700 people in the top 2% of IQ. Higher rates of mood disorders, anxiety, ADHD, even autoimmune conditions like asthma and allergies. The researchers called it the hyperbrain. Hyperbody theory, the same nervous system that processes information faster, is also the one that gets overwhelmed faster. But here's the nuance, and this matters. A larger UK Biobank study with over 260,000 participants found something different. High cognitive ability was actually associated with less general anxiety, less PTSD, less social isolation. So which is it? Both. The risk doesn't come from intelligence itself. It comes from being labeled gifted and the weight of expectations that label creates inside you. Your brain isn't broken. Your wiring is just running hot. Thought number 4. And this is the one I want to share from my own life. Most arguments aren't actually about truth. I used to be in meetings where someone would make an obvious mistake in their reasoning, and I'd correct it politely, calmly, with actual evidence. And every single time, I lost the room. For 10 years, I thought I was bad at people. Then one day, I read something that rearranged everything. Most arguments are not about ideas. They're about identity. People aren't defending positions. They're defending their sense of who they are, their tribe, their version of themselves. Once you see this, 2 things happen. First, you stop arguing. Not because you gave up, because you finally realize the conversation you wanted to have isn't the one being offered. Second, you notice something heartbreaking. Most people, most of the time, are not actually trying to be right. They're trying to feel safe. And the moment you really see that the last 10 years of your life suddenly makes sense, you weren't bad at people. You were just speaking the wrong language to the wrong audience. Thought number 5. This is the heaviest one. I'm not sure anyone actually sees me clearly. There's a phenomenon researchers call the visibility paradox. The more visible you become for a single trait, the more invisible you become as a whole human being. For high IQ people, this plays out quietly. Every day, they get celebrated for what they produce, their answers, their strategy, their ability to hold the complexity others can't. But somewhere along the way, they become a search engine for the people around them, a solution dispenser, the one who'll be okay no matter what because they're smart enough to handle it. And so a strange kind of loneliness sets in. Not the loneliness of being alone, the loneliness of being known incompletely. In 2016, researchers Norman Lee and Satoshi Kanazawa published a study in the British Journal of Psychology analyzing over 15,000 young adults. For most people, more time with friends meant higher life satisfaction. Standard human result. But for the most intelligent participants, the pattern reversed. The more they socialized, the less satisfied they reported being. The researchers called this the savanna theory of happiness. Our brains are still wired for ancestral environments, small groups of about 150, deep bonds, low density. Most modern minds feel anxious without those conditions, but high IQ minds appear to adapt differently. They don't need the constant social reassurance of the tribe, which sounds like good news, until you realize what it actually means. It means they've learned to live without something most of us assume is essential, and no one ever stopped to ask whether that was a choice or a survival mechanism. Look, for most of your life, you've been told there's something off about how your mind works. There isn't. The silence isn't arrogance. It's bandwidth. The overthinking isn't a flaw. It's the engine of every good idea you've ever had. The loneliness isn't because you're cold. It's because depth, by definition, is rare. You're not the problem. You're the proof that the world still has room for people who think this deeply. But you didn't come here just to feel seen. You came here to do something. 3 tools. All research-backed. All starting tonight. Tool 1. It's 11 p.m. Your brain just brought up that thing from 2019. Tonight, you're going to do something different. You're going to write it down and tell your brain it has an appointment with that thought. At 6 p.m. tomorrow. Not now. This is called scheduled worry time. It comes from metacognitive therapy, an approach developed by clinical psychologist Adrian Wells. Studies show it can significantly reduce rumination within 2 to 4 weeks. I started doing this 6 months ago. The first week felt awkward, almost silly. By week 3, my 3 a.m. ceiling staring sessions had cut nearly in half. Your brain stops nagging when it knows there's an appointment. Tool 2. When you catch yourself asking, "Why do I always?" Stop. Why questions feed rumination. They activate the same neural loops that keep overthinking alive. Replace them with, "What is one small thing I can do?" What questions trigger action? This single linguistic shift, practiced consistently, rewires the loop. Within weeks, you'll notice your default question changing on its own. Tool 3. And this is the one most high IQ people resist. Find your two people, not your network, not your tribe. Two specific human beings who can hold the depth you carry without needing you to perform competence. Research on intelligent adults consistently shows the same finding. The ones who thrive long-term aren't the ones with the most friends. They're the ones with two relationships deep enough to be themselves in. Pick one this week. Send them a message that goes one layer deeper than you usually would. See what happens. One important note before I go. Nothing in this video is a clinical diagnosis. Overthinking, social withdrawal, persistent self-doubt. These can also be features of anxiety disorders, depression, ADHD, autism, or trauma responses. Intelligence isn't an explanation that replaces support. If something here landed heavier than expected, please talk to a licensed therapist. Getting help isn't a sign that your mind is broken. It's a sign you're using it well. Now, of these 5 thoughts, which one hit hardest? Drop the number, 1 to 5, in the comments. I read every single one. Honestly, that's where I learn the most. And if this video made you feel less alone tonight, send it to the one quiet person in your life. They might need to hear that they're not too much. They're just early. Send it tonight. And then you and we'll meet back here next week. Same time, same kind of conversation. The one we couldn't have anywhere else.